Hey everybody, it's Lisa Asbell, registered nurse, and welcome to a Well Wednesday, Well by Lisa. And if you've been around now for a while, you know that I have helped thousands of women make big, massive changes in their life. And we have a working group called the Well Community, and we work and learn and grow together. And you are welcome there. lisaasbell.com. Check out a few pages there. We have a course going on right now where we are talking about identity and discipline, and not always the most fun topics, but definitely topics where we are motivated for change. So that's what our group is about. But today, I want to talk about when it's okay or when it's good to look back. And if you are looking at this is an audio. I do all of my work here, mostly in audio, sometimes in video, but I find it much easier to just get into the zone and get myself into a space of pouring out, if you will. And that's what I like to do. And so welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you'll hit subscribe. And these are powerful Lisa lessons. And these are things that are backed by science. I've studied them. I have watched them lived out in many, many, many women across the world even. So this is really for the woman who's ready for the next chapter. And this is not about being perfect. It's about moving forward. It's about learning and growth, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 80, or 20. Life is about your lived experiences, your learning, and the people that you take the ride with. Those are the three things to me that are important in life, and also your spiritual life, but we'll get into that in a minute. So let's get into kind of like the whole idea of looking back. And I've said it even myself, like, don't worry about the past, don't look back, don't look back. But there are times when you really should look back. And it's a reflection. We do a lot of that in our community and our learning and growing together, because if you aren't taking a weekly look back, a monthly look back, a quarterly look back at your life, how do you know where you're going? How do you know where you've been? How do you redirect your course if your life is not going like you had planned? Your life should go exactly like you planned. Now, there's always things that happen. We always know that. There are always difficult seasons where people get taken back and they fall off the wagon. They lose their way. Okay? But I just wanted you to think about looking back for just a minute as learning, motivation. Maybe something was working. And then if on the thumbnail there on this YouTube, you'll see the well will. And keep in mind that the well will is really what has shaped our community. That everybody was so focused on weight loss and their way their body looked, or sagging skin, or, so focused on the outward side that they didn't really take the deeper look on the inside. What is it about losing the weight that will make me happy? What is it about having this job or having this, direction would make me happy? So we do a lot of work on vision and planning forward, but sometimes it's okay to look back. And so that's what today is about. And I've had some recent, in our course that we're currently doing about identity and discipline and consistency, we make one small promise to ourselves. And in the mid-course, my promise totally shifted. And it's because I was seeking a new direction. I was seeking something different than what I currently had. And honestly, I got back on my bike. I've been dealing with knee issue, back issue, shoulder issue, wrist issue. And I got back on my bike, and it just was a flood of emotion that I had really drifted away from something that gives me joy. And that was a real big aha for me. about kind of looking back. So I want to talk about the well wheel for just a second, because the well wheel is this yellow ring, and on the outside it's your joy. So all of the pieces of that pie inside are parts of life. Tony Robbins teaches something very similar. Most coaches, most leadership coaches do teach something very similar. But you have all these areas of life you address: your health, your finances, your relationships, your spiritual life, right? Your all of those things come into play. And so when you think about the well will, think about your health. And one of those pieces of pie inside of that wheel is your health. When you felt the best you've ever felt, make a list of what you were doing. Were you a member of Well? Were you walking every day? Were you a member of something else? Okay. Another program? Were you going to a boot camp? What were you doing when you were your best self health wise? Okay. All right. Then let's think about another piece of the will. Really, your relationships. When if you've got something going on with your marriage or family or kids, whatever the case is, when you were at your healthiest in relationships, what were you doing? Kind of not what everybody else is doing, because we can't help what everybody else is doing. But what relationships were giving you life? What relationships were draining? Where did you feel seen and feel good, right? What made you feel small? Dig deep into all of these areas of the wheel now and ask yourself some really tough questions. Let's talk about your career. And if your retirement age, maybe now that's purpose has shifted, so it's no, and maybe it's two different things. My main purpose is to serve. And I love serving by learning and sharing. That's my calling in life. But I love also in my work that I do in strategy and learning there too. So it's really interesting. But what are you doing when you were your happiest at your work or in your purpose, right? Like, what were you creating? What were you teaching? Were you leading? Were you helping people? Were you using your gifts? Were you taking on a challenge? Were you part of a group or a community where you were speaking? Were you building something? So think through each area of the wheel and reflecting back, looking back. When were you happiest? When were you motivated? What was it about that? I could even get into really your financial life. When was the time you felt more in control? Were you tracking your spending? Were you having honest conversations about money and where it was going and how your investments are going and, how your retirement plan is going? Were you paying attention to every little penny? Were you saving more? Were you really kind of avoiding shopping because maybe that's an issue for you? Money stress can literally affect every area of our lives. Your sleep, it's a biggest problem that marriages have. Your health, your confidence, your peace. So look back on when you were the strongest there and you felt the best there. What was going on? Let's do the same with your spiritual life. When were you the strongest spiritually? Were you going to church regularly? Were you praying regularly? Whatever that looks like for you, okay? Whatever that looks like for you. I do a lot of walking outside praying, right? I do more silence than I've ever done. And if you know me my whole life, you're going, thank God. I'm really quiet a lot. I'm alone a lot. In my job, there's a lot of quiet work. Just Lisa working, and I love it. Gratitude. I've done courses on gratitude. I consider gratitude to be one of the most profound daily practices that has shaped the course of my life and my growth in all areas of life. Grateful for what I have. Grateful for to get up every day and get after it again. Grateful for you. Grateful that for the internet and YouTube that I can come and I can share things that I've learned or that maybe would help you too, or maybe it's something that you've already known but you've forgotten. And I do find that a lot too in my work. So the well will is really not about judging your life. It's about noticing your life. It's about having you stop. Everything's a mess. No, what needs attention? Okay, what small area, what small change, what small promise can you make for yourself in looking back at your past and seeing what works? So let's get 3 points and then we're done here. So, number one, you look back to learn. Your past has data. Something pulled you off track, something helps you stay steady, right? What did you need that you did not have? What pattern keeps repeating? Rumination says, I'm going to always mess this up. Something's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. If you are 60 and broke, you are normal. If you are 65 and you're in an unhappy marriage, normal. If you are 40 and you're scared to death about life, normal. If you're 20 and you have no idea which direction you want to go, or you're 60 and have no idea which direction you want to go, it's all okay and it's all normal. But what is self leadership? What is next level? What is personal growth and development, which is everything, everything, everything I am passionate about? Is saying I need a daily practice of looking back. I need a reflection that says, what happened? What can I learn? What was working? What needs to change now? And maybe your life works like mine and maybe it doesn't. But here's what I do. God, what is the next right step? Because when I look back, I see a lot of missteps. And I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm interested in taking the correct steps. Number two, look back and remember what worked. You're not about beating yourself up. It's not about regret. It's maybe you were doing less scrolling. Maybe you were walking more. Maybe you were going to the gym, right? I mean, maybe you were having harder conversations. Maybe you were having a date night. Maybe you were having a family time. Maybe you were more in church or reading your Bible more or more into your spiritual practice. Maybe you were meditating more. Maybe you were doing yoga. I don't know. But this is a day for reflection. This is the time to look back to see what was working. And number three is you look back for motivation. You're not looking back for regret. You're looking back for evidence and you're looking back for motivation. What worked? What can I get back to? What is one small thing that I can learn from this whole life inventory we've taken over our past few minutes together? In 12 minutes, we've taken a life inventory, okay? Write it down. What changes can I make? What small changes? You're not starting over. You're starting a next chapter, and it's not from zero, okay? You're starting from more experience. You're starting from wisdom. You're starting from survival. Hey, you are starting from being here. Share this with your friends. This is the work I'm interested in. This is the work I enjoy most. This is a Well Wednesday to remember. See you right back here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. And then, hey, never miss one. Write down what your answer is this week. I feel better every day when I was walking and praying. I feel calmer every day when I was exercising. I had more energy every day when I was waiting for hunger. Our marriage was better when we were doing a date night. I was stronger when I quit worrying about other people. Make a small promise to yourself. This is your sign. This is your sign to keep moving forward. This is Well by Lisa Asbell, Self-Leadership for the Next Chapter of Your Life. I'll see you on the next Well Wednesday.